is Team Deathmatch. Kill the enemy team to win. The first team to reach the target total wins.
Hello YouTube. I like to keep my discussions here technical and relevant to my gaming work. But for the first time, my personal life has become relevant to my gaming. Instead of identifying as male or female, I've always self-identified as an attack helicopter.
Does that sound like a helicopter?
This might confuse some of you, who assumed I was a disembodied voice who talks over gaming footage. Anyway, my pronouns are vroom and rat-a-tat. And if you tell me that vroom isn't really the sound helicopters make, or that rat-a-tat is too long to be a pronoun, I'll be triggered. Moving on, I'm really excited that Robocraft has allowed me to finally act as my true self in its blocky world. Without further ado, I proudly introduce the Bengal 5000. It uses 3 plasma disruptors, which are the second smallest plasma cannons. I was going to use rail piercers, which are the smallest sniper rifles, but I learned that they shoot randomly off center when firing from any altitude. This is probably because otherwise, an aerial sniper would be really overpowered. The key aspect of this helicopter is that I designed it to cost exactly $5,000 in the robot shop, which is a strict monetary constraint. It's also only 158 CPU, which makes it the lowest CPU machine with which I've won in the pit. For reference, that's about half the CPU of the 3 robots you get at the start of the game. What you're seeing now is only my second match in the new game mode. In my first match, my platoon friend picked a bigger machine than I was expecting, and I ended up pitting my 158 CPU helicopter against 1000 CPU bots. Given the circumstances, I feel like I did okay, but that wasn't the take I wanted to use. Overall, I enjoy the new game mode. It's fast-paced as promised, kind of like a team version of the pit, and I really like the aesthetics of the new map. It's so refreshing to see my machine in true color, without either a blue or an orange filter. Also, putting fewer players in each match, and making the level smaller to keep up the pace of the game, should help to match the robots more fairly. In this match, the opposing team somehow ended up with only 3 players. One of them disappeared before the battle started, and the other the first time he was killed at about 46 seconds. I'm not sure if it's a server error, or if they just lost interest and left the game. One of the remaining opponents was a little blue car, which you'll see throughout the match. The car is only 1 block thick, and it uses wheels, so if it gets cut in half either width or lengthwise, it can't maneuver. So I ended up targeting that player a lot. I actually started to feel bad about it, and a couple times later in the match, when I saw him respawn, I moved on to give him a break. Part of the reason I felt so guilty was that I didn't notice that 2 members of the other team left. So I thought that out of 5 opponents, I kept hitting the same one over and over. If I would have known there were only 2 other targets anyway, I might not have worried so much about it. I'm sure you've noticed by now that some of my shooting in this match is really bad. I think part of it is due to me being out of practice with plasma and helicopters, but I don't know why some of my shots are so wildly inaccurate. I'm sure it would help to zoom with the right mouse button, so my own helicopter isn't obstructing my view. In any case, I hope I can hone my skills with practice. I also had some issues controlling my helicopter, especially at about 158 and 240. It tipped all the way to a 90-degree angle and became uncontrollable, probably due to a minor glitch. Earlier I mentioned the low CPU of my chopper, and on the subject of minimalist zone completion, I find it less satisfying in a multiplayer game, where the skill and machines of the players who happen to be in the game and random circumstances determine what is possible. So I wish Robocraft had a more fleshed out single-player mode, like a campaign in which you go through each map, each time facing different kinds of robots in different kinds of competitions. For example, the robots can increase in size from one level to the next, some levels can have all ground robots or all flying robots or mixed, and there can be similar mixes of long and short-range weapons. Then I could experiment and see how minimalist I could make my machine and still win a consistent challenge, like in Besiege. At the very least, I'd like a single-player mode that's more challenging and less grindy than the current one. As it is now, you have to beat 400 stupidly easy AI opponents to get a Protonium crate, and hilariously, the counter doesn't even reset when you die anymore. But I guess they kind of have to do it that way if they're making you grind through hundreds of opponents for a prize that probably won't be that great anyway. I also had an idea to allow players to spawn their own robots into the test area that are stationary or controlled by AI. This would allow players to shoot at their own robots to test their durability. It would also be fun to build and import robots just to blow them up. Something else I'd like to see is a more community-oriented robot shop. If we could visit the robot shop online outside of the game, comment on others' machines, and so forth like in the Steam Workshop, creating would be more fun and rewarding. That's all I have to say for now, but I'll have more during the upcoming pit battle.
Spotted. Spotted. Spotted.
Since time ran out, this match ends at 28 kills instead of 30. The next match I'll show is a pit battle, which featured some remarkably challenging opponents, including one with a lock-on missile launcher. This is actually old footage that I hadn't uploaded until now. Since this battle, the small plasmas have been buffed with bigger blast radii and less energy use. The weapon of my most powerful rival here, the lock-on missile launcher, was also buffed with a 10% damage increase. This battle also took place before the overall 50% increase in health and shields after Armageddon. In a future video, I plan to show just how much the lock-on missile launcher can dominate a match. But for now, my mini chopper plays the role of the underdog. Thanks to a lucky opportunity at the end, I managed to beat the lock-on missile launcher with my mini-copter. Unfortunately, there was a bug involving the crates when I recorded this, so I can't show you any loot. But I did at least get the crates I missed once they fixed the bug. I'm ending with a highlight in which I got a legendary kill streak, so you can see what the Bengal 5000 looks like in a desert level. The trouble with getting a long killing streak is that the longer your streak, the more points are awarded to the player who finally kills you. If you get 5 kills in a row, the one who kills you gets 6 points. So if you get all 1-point kills, then the other player gets more points than you just for the 1 kill. Plus, while you were accumulating kills, they were too. So in my experience, they usually end up way ahead. I'm not really complaining though. This scoring system allows for upsets and keeps the match competitive and interesting throughout. Plus, it makes sense that a player with a long killing streak would be harder to kill, and therefore worth more points. There's my legendary kill streak. Unfortunately, I didn't win this battle, but I'm skipping to the end so you can see the result. It's a shame I didn't win, but I think it's a respectable finish at least. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you think of my chopper and my suggestions for Robocraft in the comments.